Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another episode. Hope you guys are ready to rock and roll. Got a lot to talk about today. Got a lot of things I'm going to be showing you guys and all that good stuff. So hope you guys are ready to talk about money. That's right. Today's we're going to be talking about everyone's favorite subject, the cash. It's all about the cash, right? Count the money. Anyways, hope you guys are ready to have some fun.
Bruh.
I know I am. Again, it's not all dire out there. Again, I'm here to share good news. I'm also here to explain, the situation and so on and so forth that we're seeing, affecting, a lot of us out there in the audience in one shape, form, or another. So again, shout out to everyone out there. What do I think about the memory shortage? If you're talking about the computer memory shortage, well, again, we'll talk about that later, but at the end of the day, computers are going to start getting more expensive. So, get ready for that. That's what we're going to be talking about here today. But again, a lot of it is things that I've talked about on the other channel, talked about, as it pertains to, we'll talk about it here too, because it all kind of correlates, when it comes to, silver and gold and raw materials and the trade wars and yada, yada, yada. So there's all these things that are kind of coming into place and going in the head when it, pertains to that situation. So, but we're talking about the Mexican peso. We're talking about Mexico. We're talking about life out here, not about computer chips. But yeah, at the end of the day, it is what it is. So, okay, anyways, guys, hope you guys are ready to rock and roll. You guys know how we do here. We wait a few minutes, hopefully for people to get their notifications and show up. Because, sometimes I show up late. Sometimes we all show up late. You know how it is. But we're just trying to, live our lives out here and try to make things happen. With that being said, I know a lot of you guys don't get to watch the show live. And when you don't get to watch the show live, I know a lot of you guys have told me that you guys do not get to see the chat on the side anymore. So let me explain that real quick, because YouTube's done a lot of changes, all across the board, not just affecting creators, but also affecting you guys. So, real quick, whenever you're watching this again on the rewind, after the video publishes, after I do the live stream, you got to wait for the video to process. Once the video processes, then the chat shows up. So sometimes the video gets to get processed within an hour. Sometimes it takes a day. Sometimes it takes a few hours. But either way, you got to wait for that to happen. Also, it seems like even after the process, the chat doesn't appear automatically on the side. You're going to have to look right down below here somewhere where I'm pointing in the video. And you're going to see something about you're going to see something that says live chat replay or live chat or something along the lines with a chat. Click on that and then the chat will show up. Okay, so again, I know there's a lot of viewers out there that have been asking me about that. So, just so you guys can understand, what's going on there if you're watching this on the desktop, or I don't know where you're watching this. I don't know how this would work when you're watching it on a TV. But anywho's, I know a lot of you guys been asking me about that. So let's just get into what's going on with the whole peso and what's really going on in the sense of why are things getting so much more expensive, and are they going to continue to get more expensive? So hopefully the music isn't too loud and you guys can hear me there. So all right, 1 second. Okay, so the reality is that as we were talking about a few seconds ago, pertaining to metals, silver and gold. Anyone that's been paying attention to things like gold and silver, you guys know that those things have been skyrocketing and they've been going up in price. And well, a lot of that, has to do with the dollar losing value. And so again, this is why things are getting more expensive where you're living, such as your rent, Well, that's another situation, but, such as food, such as, just day-to-day life, a lot of things are going up in price due to inflation. And that inflation hits, again, people using dollars harder than anybody else because the dollar is losing value. The dollar is just basically getting destroyed each and every day. So, for example, when you compare it to the Mexican peso, as the dollar, basically all currencies are heading to the ground, okay? But since the US dollar is going to the ground quicker than all currencies, it's outpacing other currencies. And so therefore, what happens is that if you live in Mexico, for example, all right, and you earn in US dollars, let's say you get a social security check. Let's say that, like me, I tend to earn mostly in dollars, same as a lot of people out there. Let's say you're a digital nomad, whatever it is, right? If you earn in dollars, what's going on is that each and every day, life is getting more expensive out here because those dollars, here, let me explain real quick. They're losing value. Oh, yeah, let me show it on the screen. My apologies. One second. So those dollars are losing value, okay? Compared to the peso. So, and here, let me put it to you like in a chart so you guys can see a little bit better. As you guys can see there from the chart, okay, it's been steadily going down over the last year. So 1 year ago, okay, by the way, here, I don't know if the music is too loud or not. I don't want to get too distracted there. Okay, anyway, so a year ago, it was at 20 to 1. So what did that mean? Well, if you had $1, I mean, sorry, if you had $100, okay, you would get back 2,000 pesos. Okay, so $100 get you 2,000 pesos. Okay, but today $100 gets you, okay, 1724. So basically, you get a lot less, okay, like a third less, or I don't know how much less, but anyways, imagine when you multiply it by a lot. Let's say you multiply it by $1,000, okay, you're getting 17,000 pesos instead of 20,000 pesos, just to give you an example. So obviously, things are getting more expensive. Now, is this going to continue on for the foreseeable future? Look, honestly, we really kind of don't know, but some of you guys out there might be a little bit more familiar with things like trading and charts and things like that. And you guys can see here. Oh, hold on a second. No, I don't want to join for free. All right, hold on a second. All right. No, you're not gonna. All right, hold on a second. Yeah, reload. I'm gonna have to reload that thing real quick. All right, hold on a second. Well, whatever. You know what? Let me just show you this chart first, okay? So this chart is something I found online, okay? There's people that analyze this on a, you know, analyze it on an analyzed basis or whatever. So as you guys can see there, this is a monthly chart. Each one of those little lines, green or red, are a month. And this goes back to, hold on a second because okay, this goes back to August of 2008. All right. So this goes, as you can see down there, August of 2008, all the way till today. All right. That last red line that you see right above, okay, that's right now, today, this month. Okay. And as you guys can see, right now, okay, it's hitting that support line, that green line. All right. And that once it hits that support line, okay, again, it's supposed to hold and just stay on that line or go up. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, when does that candle close? When does this red candle finish? It finishes tomorrow. Okay, the trading month ends tomorrow. So once that closes, we should open another one right next to it and it should start moving up. So therefore, once it starts moving up, again, that's a direction most people coming from the US, okay, want to see or hear, because again, the higher it goes up, okay, that means that you get more pesos for your dollar. Therefore, it gets more cheaper, it gets more inexpensive, all right? Therefore, your dollar stretches further, you get more bang for your buck. Now, the lower it goes, again, if it goes to 16, it goes to 15, it goes to 13. Well, what that means is that, well, things are going to get so much more expensive for all of us. But at the same time, that means that the Mexican peso and the Mexican economy is doing a lot stronger and doing a lot better than the US. In fact, that would mean, again, the lower it goes, well, the richer the typical Mexican gets. Okay, the more money the typical Mexican gets. Now, I know there's a lot of argument here. There's a lot of people that would say, well, the more expensive Mexico gets, the less investment, the less foreign investment comes in. But I don't agree with that. Again, that's the whole complicated issue. Um, I don't see it like that, especially in this world that we're moving in. It would still Mexico would still be very inexpensive, okay, to do business overseas. So doesn't matter regardless. So that would not limit foreign investment. But anyways, that's another story for another day. Um, um, so that's the thing, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like right now, we don't know where it's going. All we do know is that you need to prepare. You know what I mean? You need to prepare accordingly. So if you're coming out here on a fixed income, okay, on a fixed budget, again, you need to make sure you prepare accordingly for that because the point I'm making is that here, let's just max, okay? Let's go this chart here on max so you guys can get an idea, okay, as it changes, all right? You see how it spikes up and down and so on and so forth over there. So the reality is that it fluctuates throughout the years. When I moved here back in 2018, the exchange rate was basically what it is right now. And it fluctuated, up and down. In fact, it went all the way up to 25 during the beginning of the pandemic. And then it started to gradually make its way down, all the way down. I think we made it to like 16. Yeah, look at that. We made it down all the way to 1671, probably lower. All right. And then we bounce all the way back up to 20 and vice versa. So that's the thing. You need to prepare accordingly that during some points during some years, some points in the, or, was it during some years or some months out of the year, again, things could be more expensive or things could get, cheaper. All right. So you need to prepare for that because the thing is, that's one of the main things if you're looking into moving to Mexico. Okay. Now, granted, there are other factors, such as which we call inflation, as we spoke about earlier. Inflation is not only hitting where you live, but it's also hitting Mexico. Granted, it's not as much as it is where you're at, but many times I've, especially recently, I'll go to the store and I'm purchasing something out here, and I'm thinking, man, this is almost what I used to pay back in the U.S. Again, then someone would tell me how much they pay in the US for the same item, and I'm like, okay, well, it's expensive, but it's not as expensive as it is in the US. Okay, so look, I'll give you an example. Remember, guys, I got other channels. Okay, so on my other channels, I got a cooking channel and I got a, behind the scenes channel. All the links are down below. They're in the description. They're everywhere, basically, but anywho's, on my cooking channel, I'm basically put a meat order. Okay. I order meat in bulk out here, and I was able to order, by the way, in the video, I said the amount wrong, but once I recalculated everything, basically I was able to purchase over 40 pounds of meat, over 40 pounds of meat, like, again, high quality meat, right? I was able to purchase that for $175. 168, 175, whatever, right? Depends on the exchange rate at the moment. But it was $175 for 40 pounds of meat. Again, enough for almost 2 months. Okay. And I'm talking about all kinds of things. All right. Again, you can watch that video later on if you're interested in more details as to, you can see everything, because that's what I show you over there. But anywho's, just to give you an example as to, again, how affordable still things are. You know what I mean? Like, come on, in the USA, $175 is what you're spending at the grocery store, right? Just in 1 week. So that, and then again, that's the meat. All right, and the protein, and then the other things, like the fruits and the vegetables and things like that. You guys have seen me when I go to the market, and I showed you the prices. We're going to be doing more of that over there too. Again, talking about these things because these are all very important things. It doesn't matter even if the peso is at 20 to 1. Again, at the end of the day, things are getting somewhat more expensive out here. Again, they're still way more affordable than where you're at, in like the majority of the cases. And you have a lot more opportunities, and it's just a higher quality of life, better quality. Everything is just better out here, in my opinion. especially these days, right? But yeah, you know what I mean. At the end of the day, these are things that you need to, all of you guys need to um, plan for, because this is the reality of it. So it doesn't catch you by surprise, because it just things happen, you know. I'm just reading a few comments here. Anyways, but so look, long story short, these are things that you need to account for because they're just the reality of life these days. As things again, as the dollar keeps tanking, because at the end of the day, unless you actually just move to Mexico and have all your income coming out of Mexico, this is a moot point. Because the thing is, it's like some of you guys are moving to, not all of you guys. Again, a small percentage of my viewers, a small percentage of Americans that move to Mexico earn in pesos and work off the Mexican economy, like, and actually earn in pesos. So if you're in that situation, this is basically a moot point. But the majority of people out there, well, unfortunately, you guys have dollars. You guys are getting a social security. You guys are getting a pension. You guys are getting whatever it is you're getting. And each and every day, what I mean? That doesn't matter what's going on. That those dollars are worth a lot less, and you're going to get less out here because, again, whether it's inflation, whether it's gentrification, whether it's the Mexican economy booming, whether it's the dollar tanking, as it is, and so on and so forth. And remember, for some of you guys that have been following me for years, I have been telling you for years, okay, especially on the other channels, to again look into investing in things like gold and silver. Okay. And again, at this point, we're past that. Okay. At this point, I don't recommend you invest in gold and silver. It's always recommended. It's always recommended, but don't be buying now. Okay. If you now is your you're figuring this out. But look, long story short, buying things like gold and silver are great ways to hedge against inflation, to hedge against the fall of the dollar. Again, if just a few years ago, not that long ago, a year and a half ago or whatever, a year ago, you could get a silver coin, an ounce of silver for like around 25-30 bucks. And nowadays it's going over $100. You know what I mean? And gold, you can get an ounce of gold for like around 2,000 or less, 1,000 something, right? And now it's over $5,000. I mean, are you kidding me? And but again, at the same time, those dollars are giving you less. Those dollars are constantly giving you less and less and less and less. You know what I mean? And that's why you see really the skyrocketing price in metals, but in everything else. And then on top of that, as a good friend in the chat. So who was it? What was the name again? Shout out to Mission Silo out there. He was talking about the memory crisis and things like that. Yeah, yes, because computer chips, everything. Even I'm kind of like a little panicking right now. I'm trying not to panic. But the reality is because I've been in dire need of having to upgrade my computer. I just haven't had the money. And now, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I got to figure something out because at some point I'm not going to be able to upgrade. And then what? So, and it's all because of everything that's going on, all these trade wars and all these actual wars that are going on because trade wars are real wars. So like right now, countries like China, what are they doing? They're hoarding metals because these metals are not just shiny things, to hold value. Silver, for example, is used in computer chips and used in just about everything that we use. And so it's just all these things that are going on at the same time. And at the end of the day, the only one that's losing out there is anyone that's holding dollars. And so, the reality is that, for example, when I show homes out there, it's like these days, the way that the dollar is losing value so quickly, it's just every time I put up a price, it's always outdated every time the video goes public. By the time you guys watch the videos already, and again, a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, those houses are expensive." I'm like, "Well, or things are expensive." It's like, "Well, yeah, it's just because again, it really has a lot more to do with the dollar itself than anything else." And that is nobody's fault. You know what I mean? That's the thing because a lot of not everybody. Some people. In the audience. That watch my videos. Not everybody's a subscriber. Remember. There's all kinds of people out there. But anyways, when people complain about the prices, I'm like, well, listen, man. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, 90% of the people buying these properties are not Americans. They're other Mexicans or other people, so somebody can afford them. And again, remember, out here in Mexico, it's not like in the USA where everybody in the USA lives a lifestyle of debt. Nobody owns anything. When people talk about the Great Reset and you will own nothing and be happy, you're living it already. You're living it. Nobody owns anything. You don't own your car. You don't own your house. You don't own anything. All right. They own you. All right. But out here in Mexico, it's not like that at all. I mean, yes, there's a lot of people with debt and things like that, but compared to the USA, it's just a fraction. And the people out here buy things outright. They have systems in place out here, for example, where you can, work a job, just a typical 9 to 5 job. And you know how in the USA they take money for Medicare, Medicaid, FICO, whatever, all that crap. Okay, so in Mexico they got things like that too, but they take out for a housing. Okay, and it's called Infonavit. So long story short, you can even work a 9 to 5 job, and before you know it, in a few years, you got a nice amount of money that you've earned from that job, from the Infonavit, and you can put a down payment, you can get a house, and before you know it, just a typical normal Mexican family, they can own homes, own it, not mortgage or this, or maybe a small mortgage for a few years, maybe 10 years or something like that, not lifetime, not 50-year mortgages, right? So it's all these things that a lot of people got to look into. And so the reality is that, yeah, Mexico's getting expensive because there's like a bunch of things that are happening. One of the other reasons is that it's a highly desirable place. Everybody's coming to Mexico. Not only are Mexicans staying in Mexico, a lot of them are, and the money is staying here, but there's a lot of people that are coming to Mexico, that are leaving places, all over the world and coming to Mexico. And so that's the thing too. You got to keep that in mind, that that's the reality. And so obviously, supply and demand. And there's only so much supply and there's a lot of demand. And so obviously that will, bring the price up. Again, you also got to bring down your expectations. You remember, you're all immigrants. And so if all of a sudden, many years ago, when you could have come out here, all right, and afforded to come out here and bought a house out here, and you didn't for whatever reason, and now you're complaining that things are too expensive. I mean, whose fault is that? You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Like, and I could go on and on. And so there's a lot of people with the right mindset out there, and they totally understand what it means to move to Mexico these days. That really, more than anything else, you're escaping, you're leaving, you're an immigrant, you're looking for a better life elsewhere. And if you can afford a house, great. If you can't, there are things in place that you can work for one, you can earn. There's things you can do, but the reality is that the more you continue relying on these things, I'm talking to myself as well. The more you continue to rely on the dollar, the more you continue to rely on an outside force, the more difficult it's going to be. And so I know for some people out there, it's almost like it's a catch-22, because for some people that are on Social Security or a pension or whatever, you're already, that's it. You've already made your bed. Now what? You know what I mean? And so now all you can do is that you hope that you have enough, and that once you're out here, you plan accordingly. Once, when the dollar is, when the peso is higher, meaning that you get more pesos per dollar, well, then you save some of those pesos so that when it drops, you have extra pesos, and so on and so forth. So, all right, real quick, I'm sorry I went off on a rant. You know how I do sometimes. I go off the rails. Anyways, let me pop that music back on real quick and get to the dollar of the peso. Where were we? We were here. Let's go back to the beach. Shout out to Assis Sensi. Shout out to Assis Sensi with a $10 super chat. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Assis Sensi, which these days, these days, let's just for fun's sake, the $10 is $10 super chat is 172 pesos. So shout out to you, thank you. And then actually, once YouTube takes their cut, actually I get more like probably 7. So there you go. I get 120 pesos. So thank you. Shout out to you. Anyways, hold on. Where's the? All right. Thank you. Let's go back to the beach. All right. But anyways, Assi Sensei says, my wife and I are coming to Merida in late March for a week and see how it is there. Thanks for all the information you provide. Oh, you're very welcome. So happy to be able to provide all the information, provide all the tools and all the help that you guys are all going to need to make that dream come true. By the way, By the way, in case you guys are not aware, very recently I did a new video on my channel where I interviewed Alejandra from Calypso Roots Concierge Services, and she's a new member to the team. And as you guys know, I got a full team. All right, again, remember, everything I do is free. Okay, everything I do is free. The only thing I sell is my my time, my services. I know a lot of you guys want to talk to me for whatever reason. Again, you guys need help to move out here. You guys need tips. You guys need things answered that we can't talk about on YouTube, whatever it is, or other things. It doesn't matter. I do all kinds of consulting, one-on-one consulting. You guys can reach out to me and I can do that. But that's the only thing I sell. All right, and t-shirts, crappy t-shirts. Well, actually, you guys love the t-shirts, but good t-shirts. But anyways, on my website, you go to my website, all kinds of free information, free, and again, no excuses. This year, I said to myself, that's self. That's it. From this moment on, with everything going on in the USA, we're gonna help everybody. And at this point, if they don't make it out here, it's on them. All right. So again, I have a new motto for the year, and the new motto is no viewer left behind. All right. So no viewer left behind. I'm trying my very hardest. I know everyone's in a different situation, but I'm really trying very hard to make it as easy as possible for you to get out if that's what you want to do. All right. So again, it's not going to be easy. We've talked about it many times. So that's why I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. Okay. So anyways, look right here, Mexico, living in Merida, Yucatan, helpful resources. Okay. Some of you guys are moving straight here. Some of you guys are moving to other parts of Mexico, regardless. Okay. If you're moving to Merida and you need help, again, we got Alejandra on the team. Okay. She'll help you with anything. All right. We also got Jose Novello. He's also going to help you with anything. Again, real estate related. You need a lawyer. Again, some of you guys need lawyers for many reasons. All right. That's your guy right there. All right. And he can also help you with anything. All right. We got, you need glasses. If you need dentists, if you can come out here. Again, Calypso Roots all the way at the top. She also does a holistic everything. Okay. So anyone out here needing to come out here for medical tourism or medical help or whatever, reach out to her. Okay. So, but anywho's, and that's it. All kinds of useful information, free information. So just please go to my website. It's all free. All right, just go hang out there and see what you can find. All right. Anyways, shout out to Cami. Thank you very much, Cami, for the $2 super chat. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Thank you. You are the best. All of you guys are the best. All right, hold on a second. Let's. Where was it? All right, thank you. Anyways, all right, let me see. We got some questions here. Do you still have those bicycles and do they still work? I can use them here in Merida. Yeah, what? Yeah, I got bicycles. You want bicycles? Go to Facebook Marketplace and you can find all kinds of used bicycles. Let me see. Anyway, shout out to everyone out there. Oh, look at that. Oh, neat. Oh, shout out to Guru. Shout out from Vietnam. Good morning, Vietnam. Is it morning out there or is it nighttime? Emmanuel says, Jose, do you know any highly recommended builders? I do not. But again, going back to what I was just saying, living right here, living in Mexico, helpful resources. You know who does? Alejandra and definitely Jose Novello, because again, Jose Novello, that's what they specialize in. So reach out, again, his email, all the information is there. Reach out to Jose Novello and yes, he has everybody. In fact, we talked about it in one of the last episodes that we did. All right. We're moving, and again, in another direction. We're helping you guys with everything. So, man, I know so many people keep asking me, "Hey, Jose, I want to buy land and I want to build a home. Bop. I need all the everything." We got it. That's it. We finally. I told Jose, let's go get the team together, figure it out. So, and he figured it out, and that's it. Here we are. So you need to buy land. Or you already got land, you need a builder, you want to add an addition to your home, whatever it is you need, you need an architect, you need whatever, reach out to Jose, okay? And Jose will be your guy. If you just need like a handyman or, just someone to help you with, random things around the house, then reach out to Alejandra, okay? But if you need someone heavy duty, I reach out to Jose first, all right? Let me see. Anyway, oh, I'm glad. Oh, awesome, awesome. Oh, so happy, Cassandra. So happy you guys. Thank you, thank you. You guys are planning to move in the next few months. Awesome, awesome. Shout out to everyone out there. You're just reading. Let me see. Guru says it's nighttime in Vietnam. That's awesome. Yeah, man. You know, it's funny. I got a lot of people that watch me. I got another friend. He lives in Cambodia, and so on and so forth. You know, I got the people all over the place. So shout out to all you guys out there. You know, it's funny because I also watch YouTubers that live in certain areas as well. Just out of curiosity, I guess, you know, just like you guys watch me. Again, you know, for anyone out there that's curious, all right, please. Again, remember, this is my channel, okay? So where you're watching this on, all right? So remember, you can also just type in the search, whatever you're looking for, you know, residency, whatever information, any information you're looking for. You can just look for it there. But again, I got my 2 other channels, all right? This is like the behind the scenes, so you guys can see what I do when I'm not making videos here, what I'm doing, you know, in between everything else. And then I got my cooking channel as well. So please check those 2 out for anyone out there interested. Because yeah, like I said, I watch all kinds of things. But anyway, so just going back to this chart, you know, because I saw somebody posted this on Facebook not too long ago. And again, I know enough about this stuff. I'm not a, you know, trader or financial expert by any means, but I know enough, okay? Because I've been around it enough. For anyone that knows me long enough, all right, you guys know, right? I know enough, and I think you guys that know about this stuff know enough as well. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. All right, there you go, so you guys can see. So yeah, guys, look, at the end of the day, you know, something insane would, according to this chart, okay, according to this chart that has held since like 2008. Okay, so I mean, this is a trend line that's, all right, it has not failed. All right, so in order for it to fail, something catastrophic must happen. All right, you know, so again, who knows in today's world with everything going on, but I sincerely doubt it. And I'm gonna tell you why, because again, for anyone following what's going on in the economy and everything today, you guys have already seen that there's already been a correction. You know, there's already been a correction to the other direction, and like the dollar's rebounding and yada yada yada. And again, we're 1 day away to the end of the month. All right, because I remember the trading month is different than an actual month. All right, so it ends on Friday, which is tomorrow. And so that would mean, again, as you guys can see right above my head, that it's going to close around there. All right, and then once the next month starts, it should just be on its way up. Even if it's slowly moving up, it should be moving up. It should not be moving sideways or down at all. All right, again, if that happens, we got a bigger problem, and we will and that'll happen within the next couple months, and we will definitely be talking about it, because that would be bad. All right, but I don't, you know what I mean? Again, you can see how, you know, how volatile it's been, and at the same time how steady it's been. And these days, you know, more than ever, you got to remember that the world, okay, the world economy cannot just rely on the US dollar anymore. All right. By the way, none of this is financial advice. Thank you for reminding me, Hanson. None of this is financial advice. You're listening to a guy with a talking horse, a fake talking horse. You know, I remember somebody told me earlier, it's like, oh, he's fake. Well, it depends on who's asking, right? It depends on who's asking whether he's fake or not. I'll show you if I'm fake or not. Come over here. Anyways, but anyway, so yeah, it's a guy with a horse, all right? So please, you know, take everything I say with a grain of salt, okay? But anywho's, what was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. But yeah, I don't see this, you know, like I said, going lower, all right? Honestly, in fact, I would say hold steady, because again, tomorrow is the last day, and you know, we gotta wait till Monday, all right, for the new candlestick or the new thing to open, and you know, we should be rebounding, all right? So we'll see. If it's not, then there's some way bigger problems, like I said, you know, with the dollar and the world economy and all the things. Oh yeah, what I was saying is that normally, you know, under normal circumstances, the world used the dollar, again, the world reserve currency, as a safe haven in the sense of, because the dollar was the most stable currency, you know, AKA does not change. But since the US dollar is not as stable, okay, as it once was, all right, and what that means is that right now, $1, you know, $1 right now, literally is worth 95 cents. Okay, again, I don't want to get into schematics here, but look, the point is that the world is looking for a stable currency, and so there are, as the years have gone on, people have used currencies like the peso and other currencies out there. Again, people, the yuan, and using the bricks and this and that, yada yada yada. But look, at the end of the day, Mexican peso has been one of the strongest currencies out there. Okay, one of the most stable currencies out there in the last like decade or so. Okay, so with that being said, okay, again, I don't see much to worry about here. In fact, I think that hopefully we've seen the worst of it. All right, and hopefully from here on end, we'll see a large rebound. All right, and we'll be okay within a few months. So only time will tell. All right, but look how long it took, for it to go all the way. Again, you can see on that chart. It sucks because my mouse pointer, you can't really see it, but right, just that one wave right above there, okay, which basically started, right here, okay, right there. That started when Scheinbaum got elected, and it shot all the way up, all right, and now it went all the way down and hit that green trend line, and it should bounce right back up. All right, so we'll see. Only time will tell. I don't think it's going to happen overnight. I think it's going to be gradual. I think it's going to take its time. But at the end of the day, for the foreseeable future, things are probably going to be a little bit more expensive. All right. But again, people are like, okay, well, I'm going to wait until the dollar rebounds to buy real estate, for example, because I'll save money. The real estate will be more expensive. Yeah, but then at the same time, that house is either not on the market, or that house has already, increased in price because of demand and inflation, and so these other things. So again, I've told you guys a million times, you know what I mean? Like, either, what is it? Like, what's the saying? Was it either take a dump or get off the pot? All right. And, basically, if you're going to continue wasting time and indecision, that is the decision. All right. You're not really doing anything except trading water. So you got to start figuring out what your game plan is. Because at the end of the day, it's just like all these other things you have to take into account. Remember, the situation in the USA is deteriorating for many people each and every day, whether it's politics, whether it's a currency, whether it's inflation, whether it's your job, whatever it is, whether it's health, and that's it. Like, it's like, how long are you going to keep waiting? And so the longer you keep waiting, things are just going to get more difficult, more expensive. We've talked about it here on the channel multiple times, and there's no different. And so, like I said, this is what awaits you. Like right here, look at this, the beautiful beach. All right, waiting for your arrival, assuming you want to come out here to the Yucatan Peninsula. So this is where I live. I live there. This is my backyard right there, basically, So I'm like 30 minutes from the beach. So nice. So very nice. So that's the thing, to me, things are getting more expensive for me. So I'll give you an example. My rent when I moved here 7 months ago. When I moved here 7 months ago, my rent was $600. My rent today, close to $700. It's like, bro, like, hold on, we gotta get the, so,
bruh.
So yeah, of course, like, now, what does that mean? That means that the peso's stronger, the Mexican economy is stronger, yada yada. But at the same time, it's more expensive to come out here. So it affects tourism. It affects you and me. It affects, it depends on who you ask. Well, it depends on what they think. The people that depend on the dollar. Again, even there are Mexicans out there. Okay, in certain parts of Mexico, like in the tourist-heavy areas, all right, or in the areas with a lot of expats or whatever, well, they depend on those dollars. So guess what? The the more expensive, the crappier the dollar or the more expensive the pesos are, well, that means that there's it's affecting them. It's affecting the tourist economy, or it's affecting local economies that depend on those dollars from you guys that live there, and so on and so forth. So that's the thing. So Emmanuel says, Trump wants the dollar to devalue on purpose in the U.S. Oh, yeah, we agree. We all know. Again, all currencies are on a race to the bottom. It's just, who's going to get there first. Seems like the U.S. is on its way to get there first. But anyways, he claims that that's the only way he could lower prices on everything. But again, anyone that understands economics, that's not how it works. The weaker the dollar, you know what I mean, the more expensive things are. You know what I mean? The weaker the dollar, the more dollars you need to purchase things. It's as simple as that. So, but whatever. But the peso is strong right now, so. It's funny you say that the peso is stronger, but yet wages haven't gone up in Mexico. Well, the reality is that many Mexicans don't depend on that. A lot of Mexicans, we've talked about it here on the channel many times. Many Mexicans, they depend on their own self-employment. They depend on their own business. A lot of them earn their own money. A lot of them, they work in, again, it's called the informal economy. They don't even have a tax ID number or deal with taxes at all. So again, I've mentioned it many times because it's a meme in Mexico out here that sometimes the guy with the busy sometimes the guy with the busy taco stand is the one driving the Corvette, and the one with the 4 houses, and the one with the boat. And so on and so forth. That's just the reality of it, all right? And the guy owning the taco shop, is functioning mostly in the informal economy. And so, the thing is that, the Mexican economy is not like the US or Canadian or European economy. It's its own monster. It's its own thing out here. And so when a lot of people are like just looking at the official numbers, of Mexico, is like, yeah, okay, whatever. That's the official numbers of like the 20% that actually, sent in their information. It's not like that at all. So, but when you look at day-to-day life out here and you see, how Mexicans live, and again, granted, a lot of Mexicans don't earn, thousands of dollars a month. They sometimes just earn $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month US. But at the end of the day, it's just the way that they live their life. We've talked about it so many times on the channel. It's just the way of life out here that many Mexicans, they would prefer to take the family out on a month vacation to the beach during the summer, as opposed to getting a brand new car. You know what I mean? They'll just have the car that they have. You know what I mean? Or they won't make major upgrades to the house. Or they'll, again, gradually do upgrades to the house instead of just like, hey, I'm going to purchase a brand new house and get like a $20 million mortgage or whatever it is, like that's the thing. And so like, it's just so many little itty bitty things that once you completely add them all up, you realize, oh, okay. And so, some Mexicans are, again, struggling. It is a reality. I mean, I don't sugarcoat it. I talk about it. But like the reality is that, I've lived out here long enough to know and see it myself. You know what I mean? And I speak Spanish. I got a Mexican wife. I have Mexican friends. Dude, I'm telling you, man, most Mexicans forget the numbers, bro. I'm telling you what they tell me. A lot of them are making more money, and then things are getting more expensive, but they also have more opportunities and they got more whatever. And out here, Mexicans are humble enough, man. They'll get like a high paying job and then work. They'll get a high paying job and then they'll go live in a very low income neighborhood and pay very, very small rent and live in a small apartment just so they can save and earn as much money as possible so that they can purchase their own home, for example. Just things like that. So it's very different. A lot of people have side businesses. It's the barrier to entry here is not, it's almost non-existent, very low, as opposed to in the USA. If you want to start any kind of small business, it's a humongous barrier to entry. It's not, it's very different, so that's a thing. And so like the way I see it, the way a lot of Mexicans see it, and again, just compared to the USA, again, I got family, I got friends, I got you guys, you guys tell me how great the US economy is, right? How wonderful, everything in the US is these days. So, I mean, like I said, again, I just told you guys earlier what I paid for meat. Again, I got 40 pounds of meat. When you do the math, I'm paying $4 a pound. $4 a pound. Again, go watch that video so you can see everything. But again, $4 a pound for high quality meat. Everything, I got steaks, I got ground beef, I got ground chicken, I got chicken breast, I got, all kind of, whole pieces of beef, everything. And so it's like, $4. I mean, come on, come on, man. Like a double cheeseburger in the USA is more than $4, bro. Come on, man. So And so that's the thing. It's just it's a completely different thing. So perhaps, you know what I mean, for for a lot of us Americans, they have very high standards and a certain quality of life or high quality of life type situation. You know what I mean? There's a certain lifestyle or a certain way of life in the USA, right? And for a lot of people, when they move to another country, they just assume it's the same. And when it's not, and they realize, oh, wait a minute, how come I don't have water pressure like I do in the USA? Oh, you want water pressure, ma'am? It's gonna cost you this amount. Oh, no, it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, oh, how come, I don't have the insulation in the house like I do in the USA? Oh, you want insulation? No problem. It's this amount. Oh, no, it's okay. I'll live without insulation. It's just all these little things like that. And so, for a lot of Americans, like, oh, I can't, you know how many Americans, okay, they literally, say, I'm not moving to Mexico because I cannot flush my toilet paper down the toilet. It's like, bro, how many fucking shits are you taking a day, bro? What the hell are you doing over there, bro? Really? That's why you're not moving to Mexico? Because you can't flush your toilet paper down the toilet? Stay in the US, bro. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, but that's the thing. It's just like all these little things like that where, there are Mexicans. Okay, right now it's freezing out here. Okay, so out here, and since we live in the beach, we live on the freaking beach. A lot of people don't have water heaters because it gets so hot, and we have a system here where we put the water on the roof, and it's just like it's boiling hot for the most of the year. So we take hot showers without needing a water heater. But right now it's freezing out there, and it's cold, and so it's cold for everybody, for locals especially, and so. Some people can still not afford a water heater, and they gotta they literally gotta heat up water on the stove daily, okay, and take a shower that way or take a bath that way. You tell that to an American and they'll you're like, what? You're crazy. That's a third world country. That's what. I was like, bro, come on, man. You know what I mean? Like, again, they can get a water heater, but they would literally be like, you know what? I would rather not get in debt. I would rather just heat up my water on the stove, knowing I don't owe, the bank or the credit card or whatever over a convenience, over a luxury. So it's just, again, there's all kinds of Mexicans. Some Mexicans will take the debt to get the water heater, but the majority won't. And it's just all these little things like that, you know what I mean? Like, it's what I mean, you know what I mean? Like, for some Americans, it's like, what do you mean there's no hot? And again, I'm included. It's like, what do you mean there's no hot water? What do you mean I got no water pressure? What do you mean, in fact, I've been living in Mexico 7.5 years. And it wasn't until I moved to this house 7 months ago that I finally got water pressure. I haven't had water pressure, And it's just so many little things like that, you know what I mean? Like that. To me, the toilet thing the toilet paper thing is a hilarious thing. Because, there's a lot of Americans out there, there's a lot of you guys out there that live in places where you don't flush your toilet paper, right? So because you have a septic tank or you live in the rural areas or whatever it is, right? But it's hilarious, man. It's just so hilarious, where it's just things like that where, I don't know. So Kelly Name says, you told us that you have a connection for meat, for restaurant supplies. So why is it that you pay $4 a pound? That's not what most folks pay in the grocery store. Listen, I don't know, man. To me, I think it's affordable. You know what I mean? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, what does that even mean, Kelly? You know what I mean? Like, what, am I paying too much? You think I'm paying too much? I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Like, if you think I'm paying too much, then don't contact, the place that I contact. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I don't think it's too much. But again, this is for 2 months worth of freaking meat, so I don't know. Anyways, all right, whatever. Callaway G says, when I first moved here, I had to get a trash can from Walmart to throw out my toilet paper. And when I was in Walmart, I had to use the toilet and forgot. And I tried to flush the toilet paper. Oh, no. Okay, well. But hopefully Walmart has compensated for that. And maybe they, you'll be all right. Like, by the way, it's not like you can't, flush toilet paper. It's just not recommended. Because, again, the thing is that I learned is that the pipes here are smaller. We take bigger shits in the USA. I don't know what to tell you. They got bigger pipes. So, my apologies. Cassandra says, Mexico's more affordable. We don't want them there if they can't adjust and want to complain, that come to Mexico to relax and feel welcome and stress-free. Yeah, and so look, that's why I don't really complain about things getting more expensive. What am I doing? I'm doing all these things. I'm doing all kinds of things in order to compensate for that, in order to just make some more money like anyone else would do. I'm not gonna sit here and complain. And why are you kidding me? You know what I mean? Like, I get to live in paradise. I get to have the life that I live. I get to be in peace. Again, I watch the news. I know what's going on in the USA. Are you kidding me? I get the privilege of not having to live there. Man, whatever, bro. You know what I mean? How much is that gonna cost? You know what I mean? I'll just, it's like, I'll make it happen. I'll figure it out, bro. You know what I mean? Prostitution is legal here, all right? So if I gotta do what I gotta do, I'll do it, all right? I'm a sexy guy, all right? No, you're not. You're uglier than me, and I'm a horse. All right, anyways. All right, so yeah, man. No, dude. It is what it is, man. And there's all kinds of people in the audience. I totally understand. It's not for everybody. So, and by the way, when I was talking about the meat, it's $4. I'm talking about everything. There are certain things that are more affordable than others. Obviously steaks are more expensive than ground chicken. But anyways, just for context, okay, I was just giving you what's it called? What's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Anyways, an average. There you go. Got it. All right. Sorry, my brain was not braining today. It's so cold. I'm freezing. By the way, you guys are probably wondering how cold it is, right? Here, let me show you how cold it is real quick. Look at that. It's 76 degrees. I know you guys are thinking, what? That's not cold. By the way, it's cold because it's cloudy out. The sun is not out. I'm indoors. The sun has not been hitting it, so it feels a lot colder than 76. I'll tell you that. But out here, you can see what it's at night, so you can get an idea. This is really cold. I think this is probably the coldest I've ever been out here. But look at that. We're expecting 65. Look at that. Look at that. 57. Oof. And I think we're expecting lower, right? Let me see. It's all right. We're expecting 57, 57, 52, 51 on Sunday. Oof. That's not gonna. Ay. And the thing is, it's like, you also got to remember, we have no heaters. Nobody has a heater out here. Just like if you're living in super extreme cold weather, you don't have air conditioner because you only get extreme hot a few days out of the year. Well, usually we only get extreme cold a few days out of the year. So, all these extended cold fronts, all this cold weather sucks because we got no heating at all. And so, if it's cold for multiple days, it just, the cold concentrates. And for us locals, again, we're used to 100 degrees, not 50 degrees. That's a big change. So, but I get it. I know I'm complaining for a lot of people out there. For a lot of people, I'm complaining because you guys would kill for this weather. But again, this is why I live here, man. This is why, again, I'm originally from Miami, so I'm usually, used to warm, hot weather. And that's another thing too. Mexico will never get as expensive as places like Miami, where I'm from. I've lived in Los Angeles. Are you kidding me right now? Get out of here. You know what I mean? Like, it's. How about this? Miami is so expensive. Just to give you an example, Miami, which is like any major city in the U.S. these days. But anyways, it's so expensive in Miami right now that just rent alone for a room or a 1-1, just a 1-1, not even an apartment, like just a studio type thing, right? The cost of that is the exact cost or just about the same cost as all of my cost of living. So again, I get to live in a 3-bedroom home. I get to, I get fancy meats, I get whatever. Anyways, but my cost is just basically what rent is. So it's like, yeah, man, I don't know. When people complain about the cost, it's like, where do you live? What is your situation out there? Because if you got a better situation where you're at than moving to another country, then just stay where you're at. I don't know what to tell you. Just stay where you're at. All right. But most people, again, you guys are moving for the quality of life and yada, 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 all these things. But look, one of the major components is, again, the fact that it's a lot more affordable. and you get a lot more bang for your buck, and you don't have to deal with all that stress and all the, everything you're dealing with in the US. So yeah, for a lot of people, it's a win-win situation. And so it just depends on who you're talking to out there. Now Eastern Pa says, now I want to start a YouTube short showing the water pressure and black tubes on the roof eating up the water. Awesome. Yeah, you shouldn't. Yeah. Oh, you want to see one? You want to see a YouTube short? Oh, awesome. Yeah. There's tons of videos up there. Again, most of the world functions on a similar system. Gloria says, Jose, can you tell us about how bad the heat is? I lived in Texas, so for reference, that's what I'm used to. In the summertime, are blankets not necessary? Yeah. All right, hold on real quick. All right. And so this is where I live. So no, blankets are not necessary in the summer. In the summer, it's like 100 degrees, okay? Over 100 degrees, okay? So right now, the weather that you're seeing is the extreme on the cold side, but usually it's a lot warmer, okay? It's Texas weather, all right? In fact, it's warmer, it's hotter, okay? In Texas, you get, cold, you get snow in Texas, right? So there's no snow out here. You know what I mean? There's no ice, none of that. Again, just think of South Florida weather, okay? Miami weather, very similar, right? Less humidity, I would say, here. But long story short, just hot. And it's great, it's wonderful if you're looking for, again, that. But if you're looking for cold weather, this is not the place, okay? Because you're gonna find cold weather only a few times, a few months out of the year, like right now. And again, this is extreme cold right now. But other than that, it's always very hot, very warm, beach weather all the time. Again, many of you guys out there, will come from northern US or Canada, and you go to the beach right now, okay? You see, right now, this is perfect weather for a lot of you guys out there. Yeah, it just depends. It's just, I'm a baby. Us locals that live in extreme hot weather, this is extreme cold weather. But for the majority of you guys, this is perfect weather, great weather. It's cold sometimes, but you know what I mean. And it just depends on who you are out there. So, oh yeah, I wanted to show you real quick so you guys can see what we have out here real quick, because I wanted to show you the cenotes, and I wanted to show you that as well so you guys can see that. All right, where did I put that video? Sorry, I got so many videos, so much stuff. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. I don't know where I did it. I think it's... We got the zoo. We got the beaches. But not only do we got the beaches, but we also got these... look at that. I'm walking on the water there, huh? How cool is that? Anyways, yeah, sorry. So we got these things called cenotes, and they're underground watering holes. So we got that as well. So yeah, out here in the Yucatan, out here in Merida, we got the water, we got the underground watering holes, we got the beach 30 minutes away. You can also live on the beach if you want to be 2 minutes away. We got these, they're awesome. And yeah, long story short, when it gets super crazy hot, yeah, man, we're at the beach all the time. We're in the cenotes all the time. It's amazing, so... Yeah, we're in the Mayan jungle. On top of that, we got, besides these cenotes, we have these things like we have the Mayan ruins. See, look, oh yeah, there it is. See, look. How crazy is that? So we got, look, there's underground, the cenote is an underground watering hole. But yeah, how amazing is that? So it's like open. These are all like sacred, Mayan things or what have you. Super cool stuff. Anyways, but yeah, you can watch this video, hopefully, I got a video talking about all the cool things to do out here, but yeah, so normally it's very hot, and this is why it's so great, to live out here, because, we're in the Caribbean, basically, we're in the Gulf of Mexico, all right, all right, So formerly known as the Gulf of America. But anyways, check it out. So we also got this. This is all in our backyard as well. I love it out here, man. It's awesome. I've been to many parts of Mexico and they're awesome and they're great. But man, I always come. It's just I love it here. For me, this is the spot. For me. Maybe not for you guys, right? But for me. All right. I love it here. I know some of you guys do love it here as well. But yeah, this is all in my backyard, man. You know what I mean? Like, this is all great. You know what I mean? So a lot of times, what we'll do is that we'll go on trips. We'll go visit a village. We'll go visit ruins. And then we'll end the day in a cenote, the watering holes. All right? Or sometimes we'll end it on the beach because they got some of these close to the beach as well. All these are ancient Mayan ruins or, whoever was living here. Back in the day. That's Chichen Itza, chicken pizza, as my friend called it. Yeah, you got chicken pizza there. So that was shot like 7 years ago. Long time ago. Gloria says, I want to move there, but I have to finish college first. I fear it may be too late by the time I get there. Is the gentrification increasing rapidly? Look, gentrification is increasing all over the world. I mean, all over the place out here, and in many parts of the world. But I wouldn't worry about that if I were you. I just, this place is going to be here no matter what. Just plan accordingly. You're young enough, all right, that you'll be able to, if you choose to live out here and make your life out here, you'll be able to do it. Don't worry about it, all right? I promise. All right, but you just remember, you got to put that work and effort into it, okay? So the younger you are, the better. Again, I came out here at 36. I'm 44 now, so a lot has changed throughout the years, but again, it's still a lot easier for me. Again, some people can argue that it's more difficult when you're younger. All right, and some people can argue it's more easier, when you're younger. But again, it's depends on who you're talking to and what your situation is. Obviously, when you're young, we don't get a retirement check, we don't get a pension, we don't get anything like that. We have to work, we have to figure out income. But I've been able to do it. Many people have been able to do it. Again, on my website, okay, for anyone out there that's so inclined to visit my website for more information. Again, I got all kinds of information, not just on moving to Mexico, but again, right at the top, look all the way at the top, I got digital nomad jobs. Okay. Then first, before I do that, again, just go to Mexico General Information and you can find the video that talks about jobs here, okay? Because not everybody's a digital nomad, all right? But long story short, there are options for whoever you are. But, for you're young, you might as well look into digital nomad jobs. Yeah, because, you can just earn, dollars, sure, crappy dollars, dollars that are losing value, but regardless, you can earn that. And doing multiple jobs. There's all kinds of things. So go ahead, go hog wild there. And hopefully that degree is worth something. Anyways. So yeah, but anyway, shout out to everyone out there. Hopefully you guys are enjoying today's show. But yeah, like I said, guys, I got all the resources. Okay, like I said, there's no excuses. If you really want to make this happen, it's now or never. All right. Like I said, things are just getting more difficult. Things are just getting more expensive, so on and so forth. Let's check on the peso real quick. Let's see where we're at. Look at that. Okay. So it's holding steady. All right. So like I said, I honestly think, again, this is not financial advice. But I honestly think we've seen the worst of it. I don't think it's going to go any lower. Again, it might go a little lower, but you know what I mean? Not going to go like lower. I think we're just going to hold around here. And from here, we should be gradually moving up, or moving up, quickly. We don't know, but moving up, or moving in the right direction, at least as it pertains to us holding these filthy, dirty dollars that nobody wants. All right. So like I said, I think we should be okay for the time being. Okay. Because there's a lot of people that live out here. A lot of people, they're thinking of coming out here now, vacation, whatever, So like I said, I think we've seen the worst of it already. And from this point forward, I think we should be totally fine. So again, I'm also kind of relying on it. Normally, look, you guys have watched, for some of you guys have been watching me for years. You guys know I am one that, cheers and prefers a strong peso. Okay, because that would mean that Mexico's doing better. Mexican economy is doing better, blah, blah, blah. But, as it stands right now, look, I'll be honest, I'm just like everyone else in the sense that, the stronger the peso and the weaker the dollar, the more expensive life for me is going to be. And these days, you guys know what's going on, as it pertains to things like YouTube or, again, just so many other factors, that are basically hurting my pocket. All right. And this is not helping, because this is only making everything more expensive, which is why I've, gone to the length of starting a business. Okay. And we're working on that again. I got, coverage of my business and how that's going on my channels. Okay. So I got other channels. Okay. Jose Unleashed, if you want to see behind the scenes, you want to see what the business is, what we're doing over there. And cooking. We got my cooking channel where you guys get to see my meat. You guys get to see all that, my expensive meat, right? According to Kelly. Shout out to Kelly out there. Just picking on you, Kelly. I love all you guys out there. But anyways, but yeah, if you want to check that out, all right, you guys can see, my meat. And you guys can see more on that if you want to see behind the scenes there. But look, long story short, I've revived, these channels up because, again, I have, YouTube is changing. Things are changing around the world, and we got to change with them. You got to plan accordingly. And I'm not going to sit here and just complain. No, I'm going to do something about it. And that's what we're doing about it, right? So, again, if in fact, I'm going to ask all of you guys a favor out there. If you guys really want to help me out, you guys, really love me, you guys enjoyed today's show, go to my cooking channel, okay? Go to my Unleashed channel. Here, I'll put the links in the chat real quick so you guys can go ahead and check it out. And at least go subscribe, go watch a video. Check it out. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't. I don't know. Whatever. But still, help a brother out. Help me help you. Yeah, but that's the thing too. Remember, you know what I mean? If I can't afford to make videos anymore, that means I got to dedicate myself to, earning real money, earning, depending more on my business or even having to go to work. Maybe I'll go visit my own website and I'll go get myself a digital nomad job. Regardless, that's the thing, so I'm doing everything humanly possible, to stay afloat here for all of you guys. But at the end of the day, there's, we're all in the same boat. We're all watching this very closely. We're all hoping, that the thing rebounds and that we will be okay. And then also, again, just, trying to make that money, But again, at the end of the day, we got to work. You got to put that effort in. So this is why I show you everything, because it's like, I want to show you that it's possible, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to hear any excuses. Everybody's in a different boat. But for anyone out there that's not getting a retirement or a pension and still wants to make that move out here, listen, I'm a perfect example, okay? I'm making it happen. I've been making it happen for just about almost 8 years that I've lived out here now. So, come on. You know what I mean? Like, and I've shown you so many things that I've done throughout the years, and I've given you, and I'm a plethora. Again, please use my website if you haven't already, or my YouTube page. Search on YouTube, right here where it says search. You see, search. You can type anything, jobs. All right. Residency. Okay, whatever. Passport, I don't know, whatever. But look, long story short, okay? Even how to renew everything, anything you could imagine, all right? So, like I said, no excuses, all right? I'm providing everything humanly possible. Like I said, doesn't matter what your situation is. You guys already know. I think that's it. I don't know what else am I gonna say. I lost my train of thought. I was gonna say something else, but I think that's it. I think I'm gonna wrap it up. So. But anyways, guys, I really appreciate you guys. I really, want to thank you guys so much. I really think, everything's going to be okay. And the reality is that, the longer you wait, the more difficult this is going to be. No reason to keep waiting. You got a whole life ahead of you. Stop wasting away. Thinking about what you're going to do, when you're going to do it. Stop making excuses. Oh, it's too expensive. Oh, it's too difficult. Oh, it's too whatever. Nothing worth having is easy. Everything is going to be difficult. I've shared all my difficulties through the years here. All right, continue sharing my difficulties. I've shared my wins like I've shared my losses. Okay, and the reason I do that again is to show you guys. And to encourage you guys, and to also, again, show you guys everything. Because the reality is that You know, other YouTubers, for example, they'll just show you the successes. They'll just show you what, you know, how it looks like when things are going great. I show you everything. You know what I mean? Again, right now, things are not going great, you know, but again, they're great. They're still great. Everything is still wonderful. But again, I'm being realistic. You know, if you're out here living right now, okay, and you're earning money from your Social Security, all right, and you don't understand exactly what's going on with the peso and the dollars, nobody's talking about it, you know, you're going to be worried. You're going to be a lot more worried. At least I'm giving you a little insight. I'm helping you guys at least understand the situation a little bit better, or at least and encouraging you guys to even do your own homework and do your own research and check it out. And again, you know, just understand the bigger picture here. And that's it. You know what I mean? That's all we're doing, man. You know, just one day at a time, one baby steps, all right? That's all we're doing. All right, that's my good friend Dave. A lot of you guys know who Dave is. Shout out to Dave. That was when we went to the market the last time. And then, yeah, you know what I mean? Just, you know, living life, enjoying life. This could be you, all right? If you choose to live it, all right? If you choose to, you know, to grab life by the horns and make this, you know, make the dream that you've always had a reality, you can do it, okay? Like I said, no viewer left behind. I'm doing everything I can, all right? No viewer left behind. Look at that, Chicago, -1. Ay, rough. And I'm here complaining about what? 75 degrees, you know? This guy.
Bruh.
I'll leave it there. All right, guys, I'll leave it at that. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for providing entertainment for me, just like I provided for you, you know. And again, I'll see you guys here on Sunday. And please, guys, again, I got 2 videos that I just uploaded literally today. All right, so go check out Unleashed. All right, I uploaded a video today, plus I got a bunch of videos that I've been uploading recently. I uploaded a video to the cooking channel as well today. Go check that out, please. Again, if you need any kind of help, if you need consultation, you know, if you want to talk to me one-on-one, you can set up your consultation here on my website. If you need any kind of help, if you need a personal assistant, again, we got Calypso Roots Concierge Services to help you with everything you need, anything and everything. You know, we got Jose Novello as well. If you're looking into real estate, you need a lawyer, you need whatever. We got everybody, a whole team. Again, no viewer left behind, all right? We're doing everything possible to make it happen, all right? At the end of the day, it's just up to you. I can't, you know, I can't literally grab you and bring you over here. You know, I'm not ice, all right? I'm not the frozen, I'm not the frozen water gang, all right? So, unfortunately, you know what I mean? So therefore, you know, you gotta at the very least do that, all right? You gotta at the very least, you know, kind of take it upon yourself to, you know, to put all this together and make it happen. So, all right, guys, I think that's it. We're gonna wrap it up. Guys, you already know the deal. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. If you want to see more of this, don't forget to please like, please subscribe, please share, please the bell icon, but more importantly than anything else, please continue to stay awesome. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you here next Thursday. As you know, we're here every single Thursday, and I'll see you guys on Sunday and Tuesday. And again, we're still uploading here, and I'll see you guys on the other channels. All the links are all over the place. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. See you in the next one. Bye, guys. Stay warm.